You blew my mind with something in our last session, actually.
You don't even have to tell me what it was.
What was it?
I'm just saying there's probably a ton of things.
A ton of things. But the Bugs Bunny opera. Can we watch this part of this clip real quick, Sam? Can we watch this together?
Yeah. You guys seen it on the screen?
Yeah. I've watched this like 100 times.
Yeah, his name is Clarence. He went to a public school, psych private school. Yeah. You got that operatic sound like Bugs Bunny with the glove, raising it around and holding it up. His shirt unties, the guy's breath turns wide and his face red and hides it. Puts it up like a jack-o'-lantern. You jack, I'm jack, 3 jacks, no jack, none.
No jack, no jack, no jack, none. I can put the low jack on my run. So I will always find you. Look left, look right, bitch, I'm behind you. Surprise, I'm inside you. Wait.
Dude, that was so much fucking fun, dude.
So fun. I get so happy when I watch it. That's why I've watched it 100 times, and I'm so much happier these last 2 weeks since it came out. Dude, okay, this is why that amazes me, because I had no idea that you were describing that scene in vivid detail and very accurately while it was happening. I just thought you randomly name drop Bugs Bunny, and it made no sense to me in the moment. And then when I watched this clip, I was like, this is unbelievable. So 2 things. 1, why is that clip so embedded in your brain? Like, why are you able to depict that so accurately? And 2, is freestyling always visual like that for you, where you're seeing this imagery and describing it?
The reason it came up to me was because Lamorne's, which we didn't see his hook on this, but right before it, he was doing something that was very operatic.
Yeah.
So I was just commenting on him doing that, and for whatever reason, you know, like just, and I know you recall things and visualize things very much too.
Yeah.
I do. I visualize things a lot, and opera. The first thing of opera, I just remember that cartoon.
Yeah.
From when I was younger with Bugs Bunny doing that. So it wasn't until I said opera that I visualized that.
Yeah.
Harry Mack. But the idea of putting that video in, that's a very obvious example if somebody doesn't know the reference, but that's what I was talking about. Like, sometimes I could disconnect. Now, if you just think I'm talking about Bugs Bunny, we don't need to connect on it. It's fine. Yeah. But there are some times where that will go on longer, and the other person is like, what the fuck's going on? And I wouldn't pick up that they don't know what's going on, because a lot of times people don't say, hold on, I don't know what you're talking about. They just go, cool, right.
Yeah.
And then so I'm like, all right, cool. They know. Of course they know what I'm talking about. Everyone's in my head. Whatever I'm thinking, you're thinking. Everybody knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So then I would go back and like, oh, they missed that. That's why I would want to show the audience, so at least the audience is in on it.
Yeah.
Then sometimes I feel like if I'm doing something and my guest doesn't know, but I'm letting the audience in, will the guest then later think I was fucking with them? And sometimes I am.
Sure.
When is that okay? When is it not? And that's the craft. And I don't mean the craft of a comedian. That's the craft of like pushing boundaries with one another and reading the room.
Yeah.
But a big part of all of this is contextualization.
Yeah.
And I live edit. So do you do it after the fact?
Yeah.
Or do you do it during it? And that was just, I don't know. I don't think I was conscious about it, but if I had to be, I guess I would think like, Didn't you know what I was talking? Like, dude, how do you not know what I'm talking about?
It was so abstract to me, because imagine not knowing that.
Have you seen that cartoon before? Is there an age difference? Because I'm only 26. You're a little older than me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Had you never seen that cartoon?
I hadn't seen that, or maybe I had, but it didn't.
You didn't
stick.
remember it.
It didn't stick.
Gotcha.
So to me, you said with the operatic. Imagine no context. The operatic sound, like Bugs Bunny with the glove raising it around.
It's such a. I don't know, because if I could visualize it, so could you. And I just remember in that cartoon, he was doing it like this, and the guy, while you're raising it,
unties.
Because while your hand is up, you have to keep singing. So it was so long that Bugs Bunny took the glove off and left.
Yeah, I watched
the glove
the
was
cartoon.
staying there.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, that's also something that I have to check myself with stand-up. Like, are you familiar with the term A to C?
No.
So A to B is what it was an obvious thing. So like if bad version, if there's a T here, and I would be like, oh hey, thanks for my coffee.
Yeah.
And like I'm making a sarcastic joke. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not tea, it's coffee.
Yeah.
Right? A to C would be I mean, it's such a bad example, but if I were to be like, hey man, thanks for getting me something to eat. You know, it's like, it's harder to get.
Yeah.
Because I'm skipping B. If I were to go A to B to C, it would be, hey, you got me a coffee. I'm kind of hungry. Thanks for getting me something to eat.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you skip B to get to C.
Steps. Yes.
And that's fun if everybody could assume what B is. So it's a shorthand. It's almost like a callback without establishing it.
Yeah.
So going A to C, if it lands, that's cool. As a trick, you skip B.
Yeah.
Going A to D is even more impressive. To do A to D, you often either have to know the person or you have to have some callbacks in. Like when I said, Harry Mack, I think I established it, but people know Harry Mack is so you don't, right?
Yes.
So, fuck, what was the point I was getting at? Help me out. What were we talking about?
Visualizing the cartoon, Bugs Bunny with the glove held up.
Yeah, I'm not remembering now. Fuck.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, I see how it relates. You went, in that case, to me, you went from A to D potentially. Because I didn't have the commonality.
Yeah, so if you don't know, right, here's what it is. I remember what I was saying. So with stand up. So that, you're right. So I went A to C because you know B, which happens to be Bugs Bunny. But if you don't, it doesn't make sense. So I still struggle with this, and I used to do jokes, and I would be referencing things that are so obvious to me that I have license to not establish. Yeah. Because once you establish it, it almost waters it down.
Yeah.
And I didn't connect with, why would the audience know B?
Yeah.
I never set up B. They don't know B. They're not in my head.
Yeah.
And I would do all of these things that wasn't working, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And it was such a little switch, which was, something as simple as they have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Which I can't say it because there's this feeling I have with letting the audience in on it, where I want the audience to be in on it, but I don't want to tell them.
Yeah.
I've used this analogy before, but it's like, we don't believe that Robert Downey Jr. is actually Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But he doesn't ever look to camera and be like, I'm just acting. We buy into it. And the reason we buy into it is because of the format. We understand this is a movie. These are actors. This is how it goes.
Yeah.
When you're doing comedy or a live performance in general, especially when you're playing yourself, this is him.
Yeah.
There's an artistic license, but we believe what he says.
Yeah.
We believe he might be being satirical, but it's him doing it.
Yeah.
So if I were to be like, if I were to say, hey, I want to make a joke that I wanted something to eat, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me coffee. Thanks. How come you didn't get me any food? It's like, okay. It's like, well, now it's the joke.
Yeah. It's too
gone.
spelled out.
So knowing when they know B.
Yes.
And what is in the zeitgeist of B is another great example. A great example is like when I would go to London and there's certain, I love performing in London is why I say that.
Amazing.
There are certain American sayings that I didn't realize were American sayings, or turn of phrases.
Yeah.
Terms. Why didn't this connect? You have to know that. And that is I don't know. That's just an interesting part of things.
Oh, 100%. It makes me think, okay, a couple things. One, it makes me think there's this Nas song, I think it's called I Gave You Power, but it's this song where the whole song is a metaphor. He's speaking from the perspective of a gun. It's like a personification of a gun. And it's so good. But it's funny because in the first 15 seconds while the beat is warming up, he's like, oh, it's crazy, man. It's almost like, I'm a gun. And then the song starts. And I was always like, damn, they didn't need to say that right there, because when you listen to the song, it's so well done and it unfolds so organically as you listen, and it's obvious that he's a gun if you're paying attention. And later I found out that DJ Premier made the beat, and he actually in the studio he was like, I don't think we need to tell them that, and Nas felt like they wouldn't know B. Yeah,
so it's titling stuff.
Yeah.
I would argue that you could not put it in the song, and if you name the song I'm a gun.
Yeah.
And you're listening to it. I mean, it's still giving it away.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Billy Joel's "You're Always a Woman to Me," she cuts like a knife, but she's always a woman to me.
Yeah.
Is about the city of New York.
Wow. Okay.
She could rob from you, she could steal from you, but it's my city.
Yeah.
But he never says
beautiful.
that, and I never knew that though.
Right.
So I was missing it.
Yeah.
And once I found that out, I appreciated the song more. So it's that line of when do you, how do you let the audience in on it without winking to them?
Yeah.
So there is a way of, I don't know this now, the Power song, or at least I can't picture it now unless I heard it, but I don't really know it.
Yeah.
There are ways of like, if he did something like, you know, cocked back, or saying something that could be a double entendre or an analogy or something to hint to it. Not, by the way, I'm not critiquing one of the greatest ever, but
he does throughout. He does throughout
that's what you're saying. So you don't need it.
The wordplay is so good that you get it. But it was almost like he didn't need it. Or maybe if they had, and I'm also not critiquing because it's a classic jam and Nas is my favorite. But if it had gone at the end, maybe, you know, because like Common has that song, I Used to Love Her, which is it's about a woman, but it's about hip hop. And the last line, who I'm talking about, y'all, is hip hop.
Yeah.
And so then
you're like, oh,
And you go back and listen to the whole thing again and your mind is blown. But the other thing that I was thinking about that sort of relates to how you do your podcast, where you do these visual references to cue the audience in and make sure they know B, right? In this sort of language we're talking about.
I feel it's important to where if you don't know B, it's okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you in on it right now.
No, I'm saying if you don't know B and that doesn't, there are some times where it's better that some of the people that get to figure it out get to feel I get it.
Yeah.
Where I don't always want it's semantics, but I'm sorry I interrupted, but I don't always want to define B.
Right.
There are just some times where either B makes it better or without B, it's contextualized the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're right. And I also, just going off that, like sometimes knowing B is meant to be special for certain people who know it. Like just now I'm going off on these hip hop songs, but there's the Eminem song where he goes, I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, why would I say I am? Which is Rakim. I'm the R to the A to the K I am. If I wasn't, why would I say I am? A lot of people who know the Eminem song don't know that it's a Rakim like tribute, you know, in that moment. And it doesn't take anything away from it for them, but for the people who do know, it makes it extra special.
Yep.
So sometimes it's like knowing B puts you in that sort of club of like, oh, that's cool. That's like, I know something about that.
I've quoted this a few times and I don't know the quote, so I'm paraphrasing, but Stanley Kubrick had referenced something about you could tell people things and or show them things, or you could let them figure it out. And there's an art to guiding them so they could figure it out.
Yeah.
But when we tell you something, oh, now we know. But when the audience gets to figure it out, then there's a sense of ownership to it.
Yeah.
Like I figured something out. So if you're able to let the audience figure it out without tell them, all else equal, why would you not do it that way?
Right.
And that is something where if people get the reference, they figured it out. That's great.
Yeah.
And if they didn't tell us, they know like, oh, I figured this thing out. And I think it also makes you feel closer to the artist. Like we have a similar mindset.
Yeah, totally. It's like I like Rakim. Oh, Eminem was inspired by Rakim. That's cool. We have that commonality and that overlap.